Look, we've been taught how to grind, hustle, and go hard, but nobody really taught us how to rest. When was the last time you actually felt rested? Not just asleep, but restored. Because if your body is breaking down while your money is going up, are you really, truly winning? Let's talk about the importance of rest and how that overlooked part could be costing us towards our freedom.
Lonzy Green, affectionately known as Mr. Flip Your 401k. I help people build holistic financial strategies using their retirement plan, their cash value life insurance to pay off debt, become investors, get paid for life, and retire comfortably. Welcome to From 401k to Freedom.
When I first got into the workforce straight out of college, I was transitioning from job to job, but I finally locked into a position that was really elevating me. It elevated me financially. I was receiving more in salary than I had ever received before. And so I felt a sense of pressure, a pressure to perform. And as a result of that, I was overworking. And by overworking, meaning working till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And the reason why is because we had a mishap on certain file transmissions. And so I wanted to show my value by inserting myself and being able to construct those files and manually send those files. So it was tedious work. So I would work late hours into the early morning. And so I was always on. Even when I would go into sleep, I was always thinking about the next day and what I could do the next day to continue to ensure that the work was getting done. But in the process, what I started to realize over time was my mind started to become foggy. I was irritable, meaning, even not just at work, but even at home. People would ask me the simplest things to do. And because I was so locked into work, I would snap at them, and which is not necessarily my personality, but that's what I had shaped and molded into because of just always working. So my patience was short and I was just going through the monotony of the motions. I wasn't present. I wasn't present with my team members at work, and I wasn't present with my family. It took me going to the doctor and seeing how my health was changing, where my blood pressure was going up, my cholesterol was going up. I was getting migraine headaches for me to realize I thought I was being productive, but really I was just being present without being powerful. Wealth and health is something that is integrated, but you can't have the wealth without proper health. Seeing my health deteriorate and understanding the importance and shifting what was truly priority in my life. Through that, I started to slow down. I started to meditate more. I started to be still more and rest more. And through that rest, it gave clarity, peace, and sharper thinking. Rest is a strategy. It's not a weakness. What do I mean by strategy? It means that not what you do necessarily when you're tired, it's what you do in order to stay effective. Because the grand scheme is burnout doesn't build freedom. It actually delays it. What is the cost of not resting? 1, anxiety. Right? When we don't rest, we become anxious, and that anxiety builds over time. 2, fogginess. Talked about the brain fog, the mental fog, and that impacts your work. That impacts how you showing up to your 9 to 5 day to day, but it also impacts how you're showing up within your business as well. People say that the devil is in the details, but I actually think that God is in the details, because the details is where you find the importance of what's happening, and it's where you build the connectivity with your clients. Also, when you are overworked and not resting, it develops impatience. burnout, and I talked about the health risks. Your body will force you to rest even if you don't choose to. Now, I mentioned strategy. What is a strategy? Strategy is ritualizing rest. Again, not just laying your head down when you're tired, but truly developing some routines. One routine is sleeping at the same time in the same rhythm. So for me personally, don't laugh at this, but my bedtime is about 9 o'clock every night. But before I actually lay my head down to go to bed, I start winding down at 8 o'clock. And even before then, I make sure that my last meal is complete before 7 o'clock. Right? Why? Because I don't want to be heavy in the gut, heavy in the mind, heavy in the spirit when I lay down. So I start my routine at 8 o'clock, and that consists of meditation, spiritual baths. So yes, I do take baths, and I listen to binaural beats, or I listen to some sort of speaking from either Jim Rohn or Reverend Ike to help center my mind and get my spirit at a higher frequency. So I do that. And then I use scents as well. So like lavender and sage to help clear me so that I can really be peaceful when I get in to rest. And then by 9 o'clock, I am completely settled from my day. I'm completely calm, and then I drift into rest. But then I also make it my mission to take at least once every 3 months a respite where I go somewhere off the grid, completely away and separate from distractions. So again, I can rest without any cell phones, any televisions, any technology, any people bothering me. And that really rejuvenates and recharges me. So that's what I mean by ritualizing rest. And, I think we should do more of that, especially if we expect to be productive in our personal lives as well as our professional lives. That may not be your outlet, but everybody needs a release valve, okay? So it could be exercise. It could be meditation. It could be yoga. It could be walking. It could be silence. So you don't just need sleep. Sleep is not just the only form of rest. You need space. Rest makes you better. It doesn't make you slower. I know sometimes we feel like if we're not moving, we're not getting momentum, but it's in those still times, it's in those peaceful times where, again, we are able to receive what our next move is. And once we receive what our next move is, we can move forward with vigor. Even soil has to rest before it can produce again. Rest is preparing you for growth. The stillness brings clarity. Bad decisions often come from fatigue. When you're rested, you become the type of person that thinks more in the long term. You have greater clarity of vision. You begin investing smarter with your money. You avoid emotional spending. So even though it feels like you're still and you're not moving, that peace is profitable. Now, I like my freedom takeaways. So let's start with the mindset. The mindset should be rest is not earned, it's required. Meaning just because you work, like Rihanna says, rest shouldn't be a reward for that. It should actually be a requirement that you have each and every day to make sure that you are light on your feet and you, again, are clear of mind. So that's the mindset that you should have. Your heart set is give yourself permission to slow down. It is okay to slow down. You don't have to prove your worth through working towards exhaustion. Now, for your skill set, do these things this week. Set a consistent sleep schedule and a ritual around what rest looks like to you. Second, create a 30-minute wind down routine absent of the phone. No scrolling. And lastly, choose one outlet, whether it's a walk, whether it's a workout, meditation, prayer, and commit to it. Because in the words of Floetry, all you gotta do is say rest. Don't deny how you feel. Sit in your silence and rest, okay? Because if you don't choose rest, your body will choose it for you. Freedom, again, is not just about the money. It's about creating and setting those boundaries to rest so that you can have the peace, health, and most of all, clarity. As you are getting that peace and clarity and enjoying that, you should now be able to make sounder financial decisions and understand the value of cash value. So tap in, click the link to download the free e-guide, The Value of Cash Value, so that as you are getting that rest and clarity, you can start making sound financial decisions through cash value life insurance. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you all next week. And until then, you take care and be blessed.